Mia still says she has a bunch of regrets. She's described how difficult it has been to shake this reputation, to find a
brother, because that's the only thing that you're known for. Nobody's gonna want to care about your YouTube career, your streaming career. Everybody knows you as the woman, you know, spread it open and busted it open on a table with 3 black dudes, you know, BC action. One thing is for sure, I think by now we all understand that the corn industry has an abundance of different issues that we can go on and list. Early death, mental issues, physical issues. And today we're going to get into some of the very specific examples of this taking place because I want to know, where are corn stars today?
A disturbing pattern has emerged in the adult film industry.
What's that?
Young stars with their whole lives ahead of them have drifted off.
Is this Emily Willis and I don't know. Y'all probably know both of them with the way that y'all be gooning all day. I already know, bro.
The rails, gone missing, or even died. With
Okay.
5 of these tragedies in the past 3 months, what's going so terribly wrong within the industry to
Everything.
lead to this? And how is this industry destroying society as a whole? Well, let's find out.
I'll tell you right now, bro. All this is because of prank invasion back in the day, bro. I know me, you, yes, you, a lot of people, you know, around my age, Gen Z, kissing pranks, kisser slaps, all that, bro. Fast Track got us into this industry, and now we're watching this stuff, and these people are actually being exploited.
Where these formerly acclaimed adult film stars are today.
Where?
You see, Emily Willis was one of the few examples of a success story in adult film.
Damn.
Her early life reads like the dream of anyone.
How much money was she making? I ain't gonna lie, bro. I feel like the corn industry has so many like copy and paste of these type of people. Like, oh no, this type of look, I don't know.
Looking to make their way into the industry. While details about her life are shaky, it seems like lots of stars she began with nothing. Growing up in a small village in Utah, Emily was a quiet, introverted girl.
Wait, people live in Utah? Hey, anybody watching this video from Utah? What happens in Utah? Do y'all just do Salt Lake City? Is it a salty lake? Or I know it has mountain ranges actually.
Growing up, she kept a low profile during high school, moving out to San Diego to try and build a life for herself.
That's where I'm
after
from.
Some short-lived jobs in sales that didn't work out, Emily was broke. She
Okay.
had no money and nothing to do, or was living in one of the most expensive places in America. But then suddenly, at the age of 18, Emily was swiping through Tinder, matching with different guys, until she would meet a man called Andre Garcia, who she began to date shortly after.
Oh, so she was on Tinder as a corn star? Or was this before?
This was far from any fairy tale romance story.
Okay.
It wasn't just a regular date.
So what happened?
Garcia is now known as one of the most infamous men behind Girls. A sinister
Girls Do Corn. What the heck is that?
website which acted as just one of many tube sites online. Garcia and his colleagues would trick and coerce women into appearing in adult videos, which they told them would only ever be sold as DVDs outside of the country.
So this is the very first earliest form of trafficking that we know to this day. So this dude was getting young girls on Tinder and then saying, oh, come work for me for my website. Trust me, it's not going to be that bad. Little do they know it's the worst thing they ever could have thought of, bro.
Sometimes they would offer young girls work as models, only to later force them into doing nude videos instead.
Holy, bro.
Another young woman to convince potential victims to go along with it.
And I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I don't think it starts and ends with this Mr. Garcia guy, bro. I feel like you go to New York, whatever. There's some dude on the subway like, yo, I can turn you into a superstar. All you gotta do is just take a picture like this, you know? Turn to the side and all that, bro. There's some creeps out here still doing this, for sure.
Figuring that would seem more trustworthy.
Okay.
Emily was just one of the many girls they exploited, but her story went much further than most of the others. Her videos proved immensely popular on the site, and soon enough, she was receiving offers from all sorts of different producers to star in their videos.
Okay.
It wasn't always easy. Emily's family were distraught when they learned about her new career, and it completely destroyed their family.
So this is her mom and dad? Why do they look like really white and she looked kind of like Middle Eastern? Maybe she's Latina, I don't know.
Relationship for years, as you can imagine, but on the surface, it seemed like everything was going well.
Okay.
This is how the industry tricks women into joining it in the first place, and how it tricks young men into thinking it's acceptable to watch.
True.
Everything seems great on the surface.
Bro, a lot of times the people in the videos are either trafficked, they're underage, like there's no regulations, you know. It's very, very unethical for a lot of different reasons besides just, you know, self-inflicted damage.
You find out some very nasty, sinister consequences.
What?
The side of the industry nobody wants you to know, as Emily would soon find out. After this, Emily would soon star in over 700 films over the course of her career.
Emily, bro, how are you getting piped down 700 times? And some of these are by 2 people in the same video. If I do the math, bro, you're probably getting piped down 2,100 times. How do you not feel soulless? How do you not feel like a literal train went through you, bro? Like the train to Busan or something. I don't know, bro. This just makes the intimacy completely soulless, bro.
For which she won multiple awards and became one of the
awards for this? Our society's finished, man.
On the internet.
Making them think this is a good thing.
Emily even began making a career outside of the industry.
Like what?
Branched out into other online spaces.
Was she a streamer?
Even went on the Sidemen's real life Tinder videos, which gained over 56 million views.
God damn.
The scenes of all these vlogs, all of these videos, all of this money and fame
was
a gnawing mental health problem. a nagging voice inside of her.
What happened?
You see, Emily was dealing with terrible addiction problems. Surrounded by young people working for fast money, it's inevitable that these people will encounter drugs at some point. But eventually, the lifestyle of being in this industry and being swept into this line of work got far too much for her to bear, and so she retired from making videos at just 23 years old.
I think a lot of times, bro, an underrated thing with the mental health thing, when you're doing that, you're basically like selling your body essentially for people online when everybody's commenting about you. I'm 100% sure, you know, in day-to-day life, you're getting harassed. People are trying to take pictures of you, try to touch you like a zoo animal, thinking that you're for sale or whatever. You're an object. You're not even viewed as a human. And that definitely takes a toll on your mental health and is really damaging. And I can see why somebody would turn to like substances or something, because you have nobody to talk to. Your family probably doesn't really like you as much as they, you know, and you'd feel like alienated from society. Brief intermission. Please make sure you sub to the channel if you're enjoying the video so far. We are on the road to 20,000 subscribers at the time of this recording. Thank you very much.
A good move, but the damage it did was starting to take a toll, as unfortunately the downward spiral that industry sent her into couldn't be reversed.
What happened?
2 years later, on February the 5th of 2024,
what'd she do?
Everything changed when Emily was tragically admitted to critical care at a California hospital after suffering from a heart attack just a week after entering a rehab facility. This happened because she had overdosed, which put her in a coma for 2 months. And despite waking up recently, doctors don't believe she'll ever fully recover, but hopefully she does. And now,
from a coma, she won't ever recover? Wait, so what's gonna happen to her? Like, what's gonna be the symptoms of that not in full recovery? Like, is she gonna be in like a really disabled type of state, or like what?
Now, this might seem like a very tragic but isolated incident.
Yeah.
However, unfortunately, it's an increasingly common story within the industry. You see, of course, we all know these sites, the people making these videos, and the production companies behind them.
Yeah, they're sinister, bro.
Young, unstable people looking for quick money can use it as a crutch to support a
Facts.
lifestyle.
Facts.
Instant fame, success, and money and validation that destroys you morally later on. Meanwhile, there's plenty of people and companies eager to exploit their fleeting popularity before moving on to the next victim. But with the rise of the internet and the massive explosion of tube sites, it's all gotten so much worse. The tube sites sell themselves as offering a kind of freedom and empowerment for the performers in the videos, but in actuality, they've only made things far more competitive.
That's the worst, bro. I feel like they're trying to like psychologically get people from the inside out, bro, by telling them that like this is empowering, this is, you know, something that you want to do because it's good for you, it's healthy, you know, you're your own boss, you're female empowerment, all those things. When in reality, bro, these people are just trying to take advantage of the woman's body, bro, and objectify them, and they don't even know, bro.
Cutthroat for people looking to enter the industry. The sheer amount of choice in videos on these platforms mean women rarely get a chance to make a name for themselves. The majority start in just 2 or 3 videos before giving it up. For those who pay they do receive, they've traded their privacy and their dignity. The videos they are in rarely get removed from the internet and stick around forever. So they get uploaded over and over again. And
if they get taken down, bro, they're probably put on a different website or somewhere else. You know, you can find it. It's always on the internet somewhere.
Most intimate acts to the entire world, repeatedly for an audience of millions. However, for the majority of performers that don't make it through the industry, there are a few people who have a different story. One of them is the infamous Khalifa.
Oh yeah, we all know her, bro.
Her home country of Lebanon as a child and moving to
some of y'all, you know her very, very well. Okay, y'all have had intimacy, you know, watching this person a lot of times, even though you don't even know them, bro. Crazy.
Khalifa's life was relatively ordinary at first. After graduating high school, she went to college to study art, whilst working as a waitress and a model on the side.
Yeah, buddy, I see why you started doing this career. I see why you dropped, you know, art, because art is not paying you $1, bro. Anybody pursuing art, bro, good luck. I wish you the best of luck.
She was 21. She was approached to star in adult
21?
films, which
that's my age.
Brought her huge fame and success, if you want to put it that way.
Overnight?
I am just loving the success and loving everything that I've gotten because of it.
And I say
What's success,
because
bro?
the way she gained fame and success was probably done in one of the worst ways possible.
Yeah.
You see, in one of her first videos, Khalifa,
bro, don't get me started, bro. I've seen this clip way too many times, bro. This is disgusting, bro.
and her co-star were wearing hijabs, and that became its whole own news story.
That's the worst, bro.
Threats and anger came flooding in from across the Middle East, while news outlets like CNN and the Washington
And
Post,
she didn't have to do this, but it's like paints people from the Middle East like in a negative type of context, bro. And like this was really weird on her part. I don't care.
caught on and almost instantly made her a household name. And overnight, she became the most searched for name on the most popular website.
Damn, she was popping like
Liz's time
that.
in the industry was short, and she clearly got the paycheck she was looking for. Despite saying that she was only paid $12,000 over the course of her career, the companies who made her videos have said that it was at least 10 times that much.
Oh,
and even
she
in
was
the
capping.
best case scenario of becoming the most popular star on around in just a few short videos, Mia still says she has a bunch of regrets. She's described how difficult it has been to shake this reputation, to find a
brother, because that's the only thing that you're known for. Like once you do this career, another underrated thing, bro, you can't like really branch out. You can't stop. You start, your general footprint is kind of fried and everybody knows you for that. Like you're not really going to get hired. You're not going to go back to school. And then it's like there's only no way out, and the only way to actually survive is by continuing to do this. And then once you get so far and you get so popular, nobody's gonna want to care about your YouTube career, your streaming career. Everybody knows you as the woman, you know, spread it open and busted it open on a table with 3 black dudes, you know, BBC action. Yeah.
A job or to ever be taken seriously.
I would say that if I had never met that person, I never would have done the things that people know me for doing.
So they ruined your life in a sense?
Just been
Is that what you're saying?
living life normally, making $18 an hour, hopefully.
But you can't feel too sorry for her. I mean, it's hard to distance yourself from the industry that brought
I think you can feel a little bit.
Especially when you're still using the same false name that most people know you by.
That's true.
Her criticism of the industry rings hollow when she still runs an OnlyFans and profits off of the fame she made from it.
Okay, maybe you do deserve to still be known for this lady, because you're still going by that stage name. Because Mia Khalifa, if y'all didn't know, Mia Khalifa's real name is not even Mia Khalifa, but she still goes by that name because she wants to have that clout, bro. And then you're running your OF, like, bro, people are going to attach that to you. Now, I understand OF is a little bit different because you're not as exploited, you know, you're on your own making your own money, so you're your own boss and whatever. So it's a little bit different, but still, dude.
Simply working as an actor in any way in the industry has permanent consequences. Even with all of the fame and money that Mia got from her short-lived career, it will never buy back her privacy or remove all of the content that still continues to haunt her today.
Oh yeah.
For most actresses and actors, though, they get far less money and fame and still have to deal with all of the same consequences.
True.
They can't live off a few months' work for the rest of their lives by appearing on podcasts.
You think she could retire?
They have to get.
Do y'all think Mia Khalifa's career was like lucrative enough for her to retire, even on OF? I don't know, bro.
Jobs. Something that a career in the industry makes a lot harder if it ever gets out. There
Right.
are other problems that such a career can make for you, even though society is still squeamish about discussing it.
Yeah.
Studies have shown time and time again that for many people out there, having a large number of partners before marriage can sometimes make it more likely that you will actually get divorced.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I think it like causes like a lot of trust issues personally. But the thing to me is like, if you're gonna mess with somebody who you want to have like a low body count or whatever, you also gotta have a low body count. I don't believe in those double standard hypocritical things. Like, if anything I would want out of somebody, I would want that exact same thing out of me. I can't ask for something that I don't have, bro. That's how I feel, bro. And most of the time, it's justified if you're doing that, personally.
Of course, this isn't an ironclad rule, and it doesn't mean that your past determines your future.
Yeah.
But it is still a social pattern. Even taking in Mia Khalifa's string of divorces into account seems to prove the point, especially if you have this content out there on the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, commodifying your past relationships and selling intimacy as a product is always going to be worse for your future happiness.
Yeah.
And especially terrible if you ever get married and the guy finds out.
I think also corn in general is really bad for this because, bro, people will think that like before they get action with a girl for the first time, they'll go watch corn to, you know, get some tips and study and tricks. Bro, I'm telling you right now, that's not how it works, bro. Dramatized. A lot of times, you know, it's turned up. You know, the loudness is turned up. The sizes of things are turned up. Everything is just great. It's all for show. It's a TV. It's a movie, bro. Like, exaggerated. It's not like that, bro.
Even though this is a harsh truth.
Some people might, you know, thinking that like, oh, they watch corn, they start jackhammering a girl, you know, like that does not feel like anything good, bro. I promise you.
Serial dating that society expects and celebrates today, it doesn't make it any less true. It's less clear whether simply watching adult films has the same effect though. We at least know that it can have a negative effect for people already in serious relationships. Whether it makes a difference beforehand is still kind of up in the air, but you can imagine it probably would. But as we'll soon find out, this may be the least concerning problems that people in the industry face.
What
it
is?
can be easy to focus solely on women in the industry. It's inevitably what most of the actual films are focused on. They're the big names that draw the biggest audiences.
Right.
Tons of the same problems that women face are equally challenging for men as well. Bill Bailey. One of those male stars.
Do y'all know who it is? Hey, is it low-key AO to know male stars by name? I ain't gonna lie, some of them, bro, they're really iconic. Like Johnny Sins, you should know him. Jason Love, I ain't gonna lie, he'd be really popular, bro. Other than that, I don't know. It's a little bit, I don't know.
Making it as a man in the industry is more harder than you'd think.
Is
the
it?
Pressures to perform under harsh lighting for hours at a time isn't something that most people.
True, I ain't gonna lie. At least with a woman like, at least with like a woman, you don't really gotta, you know, stay hard all the time. I imagine, bro, with all these cameras and lights, bro, I would not stay, you know, in that mode. Let's just say that, bro.
Enhancers like Viagra are so widespread, it's almost expected. But those who can deal with the pressure and make a name for themselves can often have far longer careers than women.
Really?
Starring in lots of videos. Bill Bailey was one of these men, appearing in over 2,000 videos across his career. Viagra isn't the only drug that gets abused in the industry. The use of other stimulants like amphetamines are very common.
Okay.
As well as heavy alcohol use to deal with this lifestyle.
Oh, like coping with the pain?
Would lead to Bill's tragic death. You see, whilst attending an industry expo in early March of 2019, people reported seeing Bill drinking heavily.
An industry expo, buddy, call it a corn convention. It's not no expo nothing, bro. The only thing they're expediting is quicker intercourse, bro. It ain't no expo, bro.
The day. Later that night, while staying in a 4th floor apartment with his girlfriend, Bill fell over the handrail of his balcony and plummeted 4 stories to the ground.
Damn, why?
And local reports claim that he was involved in some kind of argument before the incident.
Okay.
Authorities ruled that there was no foul play involved.
Okay.
Obviously, though, male stars working within the industry are a very small group compared to all of the men that are affected by it.
So are they like a bro band type of thing? Are they like, you know, holding hands and stuff? Are they cool with each other? I wonder if all the male corn stars be like linking up and stuff, be like, yo, y'all tried the new corn star? Y'all tried her? Was she better than the other ones?
Tragic the performers' stories might be, the real changes to society come from mass consumption by the audience and the effects it has.
Is that the biggest problem?
We've known
I
for
guess.
About 20 years now that addiction and addictive behaviors cause fundamental negative changes to the brain. Studies on addictive drugs show damage to the frontal lobes from sustained use. It isn't just the effects of the substances themselves. Even in people with an addiction to food, we see the same degradation and loss of brain matter. These changes are clear through people's behavior, as well as through an MRI machine. Addicts are more likely to show poor judgment towards their own actions and the consequences that come with them. They lose their willpower and their ability to resist these addictions. They become more impulsive and emotionally unstable. We now understand that addictions seem to replace that reward system in our brains used to regulate normal life. They get hijacked, redirecting your own ambition for success and happiness towards the focus of the addiction. These addictions and the negative effects they have are exactly the same for sexual activity and consumption of alcohol.
Because if you think about it, bro, intercourse really affects like neurotransmitters in your brain, like dopamine, I don't know, serotonin maybe. One of those, I don't know. I'm not really very well experienced in goddamn neurotransmitter knowledge, but y'all know, bro. It affects your brain the same way any other stimulant, not a stimulant, but you know what I'm talking about, bro. Act like I'm smart, bro.
The content offers an alternative to a fulfilling, healthy life and connections with other people.
Yeah.
A great social group, deep, meaningful relationships.
Now we know there's so many different like negative of consuming this type of content consistently. Cause bro, like loneliness, you know, being awkward. Like one thing, bro, I feel like when you watch this stuff avidly, bro, you will start looking at women like they're objects, bro. Like, oh, I want to talk to her or whatever. You don't want to even care to be friends with them, bro. That's the only, it's like lust just takes over you, bro. It's like a demon inside. It's actually horrible, bro.
Society around you. Instead, adult content is a replacement that's far easier to get. But
right.
Alienates you from what's truly valuable in life. And companies like MindGeek, the owner of most of the major tube sites, have turned this addictive component into a
so corn's like a monopoly? Like there's one owner, MindGeek?
multi-billion-dollar money machine, using the same techniques and algorithms as sites like TikTok and YouTube. They put the best minds, the most intelligent programmers, psychologists, billions in research and development, endless tests and trials, A/B testing to figure out the best way to hack into men's brains.
Damn, so this is an entire operation where they have literal scientists and psychologists trying to get people like me and you to consistently stay on the hub, bro. That's how much of a billion-dollar operation they are and how sinister they are. They don't care about men's mental health and men's anything. They just care about business. Disgusting.
Exploit their inner systems. It's
exploitative for sure.
The largest changes to society we've seen in the 21st century. And we're only now learning what the real consequences are. A shocking 87% of college-age men in America watch adult content, 50% weekly and 20% every single day.
I thought it would be even higher than that. I ain't gonna lie, bro. 50%. I mean, probably the people who are like the next 13% are people who have girlfriends, bro. Other than that, like everybody's watching that shit. It's unavoidable, bro. Whether that's corn, OF, some type of Reddit something, Discord something, Twitter community something, like, bro.
Numbers are only going up. I mean, is it any surprise that nearly a third of young men are now going without intimate contact for years at a time? They're both having their willpower taken away while being offered an easy alternative.
I wonder if like Gen Z is having more loneliness issues than other generations, especially like with women in like the dating scene and stuff. Like, are we having a bigger issue overall than the other generations, and that's causing us to watch this stuff?
Same time. That ambition to do great things and accomplish something in your life is being squashed and redirected.
Right.
To line the pockets of some shady people at a shady company nobody's even heard of. Coincidentally, MindGeek recently changed their name to ALO, a few months after a documentary was released on Netflix shining a light on their shady practices. And at the bottom of this pyramid are all the countless stars and performers that produce the content that fuels this money machine, making schoolgirls, normal people, broke people, anyone and everyone to become their own stars and make their own OnlyFans, whilst addicting almost every single man to becoming more disconnected from society. Most of the people who make their way through the industry pipeline come out the other end with
Meta, how can I get my 2-year-old eat his breakfast?
He likes it when you make silly faces.
few dollars and a bunch of regrets.
Okay.
Recruiters look for people with troubled backgrounds who have enough of a negative self-image to consider the work in the first place.
Huh?
The work
Did you say that people look for people with traumatic backgrounds in order to like target them?
never solves their problems and generally makes them worse. Even the famous and popular performers can easily hit rock bottom once the work dries up. Just like the subject of our next story, Jenni Lee.
Jenni Lee.
Like most of the people we've talked about today, Jenni came from humble beginnings.
Okay.
Born in the early 80s, she grew up in Clarksville, a small city in Tennessee.
80s? So the corn industry, like corn hub was being a thing since the 80s?
Her career as a model, then as an adult film star. Her
Okay.
looks and her personality quickly caught on in the industry, getting her work in over 100 films to date. From
Okay, so she was an
2003
actress.
to 2009, Jenni made a name for herself, rising up the ranks
Got
and
it.
becoming incredibly popular with fans.
Got it.
Even today, over a decade after she retired, her name is still on the list of top performers on tube sites. And yet, despite her work, Jenni got married at just 22 years old. Although,
Okay.
rather expectedly, by 2006, she was divorced from her husband. But the question is, where is she now? Well, it's not really a fairy tale ending. After trying to leave the industry in 2009, Jenni Lee moved to Vegas to work as a model, but we can gather that her career didn't actually plan out as expected. She was still allegedly appearing in films all the way until 2016, when she appeared to drop off the face of the earth. That was until 3 years later, when a Dutch film crew exploring the tunnels under Las Vegas inexplicably found her living there in a vast network of homeless people. The brief interview they conducted with her is shocking to watch.
So she's
by
homeless
her own
now?
admission, she seems kind of okay with how things turned out.
But I'm happy. I have everything I need here.
Yikes, bro.
It's thought that between 1,000 and 1,500 people live in the tunnels under Sin City.
I've actually seen that. I think it was like a Tyler Oliveira video, like talking about like the underground tunnels of Vegas and how people like live in them, bro. That would be crazy, bro. Imagine living inside of a tunnel and then, bro, being homeless also sucks because you're not only homeless, but you're also fearing for your life from other homeless people who are like strung out on crazy drugs. Like you could just wake up with a knife in your neck and you don't even know, man.
Describes their life as hard, but that the shared struggles breed a sense of community amongst the other lost people who make their lives underground. Now, of course, there's a bunch of dangers here, from flash floods and sewage to rats,
my
addicts,
gosh.
extreme temperatures, not to mention crime. However, since this interview, not much has been known about Jenni's life. She might still be down there, scratching out and living amongst other people who don't judge her for her looks or her background. It should be clear at this point what's going on in the industry. It takes people who are generally already unstable because of their childhoods and lures them in with false money. They trade away their dignity and their privacy, and even if they're successful,
it's a good way to put it.
Will just spit them out a few years later. This has been going on for
decades. It chews up normal people and spits them out and turns them into monsters or ruins their entire mental, physical health, all the above, the reputation, everything, bro. It doesn't matter. I would not recommend it. No matter how much money you get, it's not worth it. I'm telling you.
Decades, but the question still remains, why is it getting worse now? Websites like OnlyFans and other self-promotion tools claim they're giving the power to the performers and taking it away from a predatory
I don't
industry,
like how they say this, bro.
Which is a crazy thing to say when these sites are just incentivizing normal, regular people to start becoming online adult stars.
Yes.
And if their claims were actually working, we wouldn't be seeing the disturbing rise in the casualties. Instead, OnlyFans is one small part of a group of problems that are hitting performers one after another.
What's been happening there?
The site essentially helped carry on the work of the tube sites by creating a single global marketplace. While this might sound liberating, in fact it only makes the competition far harder for actresses.
That's true. It's almost like a SoundCloud, bro. Like you start making music, everybody's making music, everybody's dropping on SoundCloud, but not everybody's gonna click on your SoundCloud. So you sell out and post pictures of your butt and nobody watches it except for one person, and that one person happened to be your damn boss, and now you're fired and now you have nothing and you're cooked.
Deals with production companies just a decade or two before. In the same way that dating apps have made it far harder for men to find someone by giving people so many different options, it's done the same thing to the adult film industry.
What is happening here, bro?
In the industry already faced.
What is that clip?
Worse. There may not even be that many more substance abuse issues than there were 5 years ago. But the risks today are far greater. New synthetic drugs, which are both far more potent and far more deadly, have flooded the market.
Like what?
Used to numb the pain and fill the dad-shaped hole left in these stars. And as their drugs get more and more tainted, they need higher doses to even live with their lifestyle choices. It's making the lives of these performers far more dangerous. The mental health crisis that the rest of the world is going through is just as bad as in the adult film industry, if not more so. Performers in the industry get PTSD at 70% of the rate of combat veterans, either from the trauma that brought them to the industry in the first place, or from trauma which happened on set, and even after being on set. At the end of the day, it's an industry of victims. It preys on the weak and broken to make its content.
Listen listen up, bro.
Audience
He's spitting
in an
facts.
addictive cycle. As long as video cameras still exist, the industry isn't going anywhere. But new technologies like AI threaten to change everything. On the one hand,
AR corn stars
with AI could ultimately lead to fewer broken lives. But it would also make things far worse for the audience, giving people access to a way to visualize.
Yeah, because think about it, bro. People would just be typing in the prompt they want, like make a white woman and a black dude, and the black dude's tied up, and you know, make slavery roleplay or something. Everybody could have access to any type of crazy corn. It could rot people's brains, and even worse, destroy the connection within human society on a day-to-day basis. No, man, we don't need this.
Might be would only make people go further down the addiction rabbit hole. We're already seeing that happen with deepfakes today. With the crazy stuff of AOC and Trump together, you can only imagine what sick things will be made.
Yeah, bro. Nah.
And the efforts of some states to ban the content entirely and stop people from accessing it won't work either. Even just banning adult entertainment sites, like the state of Texas did with Pornhub, isn't enough to stop the flood.
Yeah.
In the same way that prohibition never worked for drugs or alcohol or anything else, people always find a way to get access to it if the root problem is still there. If the discontent, loneliness, alienation is all pervasive within their society, people will always flock to this content to fill the gaping hole inside of them.
Gaping hole?
It will completely shut down the kinds of regulation that can actually reduce the harm that the industry causes. The only way for people to really protect themselves is to isolate yourself from it entirely. Breaking that addictive cycle and not fueling an industry that entirely relies on exploitation is the only way to make sure it can't ruin your life.
Yeah. Great video right there. So that is where corn stars are today. We talked about some of the harmful effects of corn that we should all already know. A lot of times people tend to excuse what's going on in the industry itself and focus on only the negative effects from the viewer perspective. But when you take into account the way the viewers are affected, right? Our brains are getting cooked by it. And then the people performing are getting cooked by it. The only people who are really benefiting are the corporations and the owners, bro. The people who get them to do this stuff by exploiting them and making them think and manipulating them into thinking they're doing something right and empowering themselves when they're really not. They're negatively affecting everybody involved besides their own pockets. It's all just business, bro. The more and more I get older, the more I realize everything is about money and greed and business at the end of the day, bro. It chews people up, it spits people out, whether that's the audience or the participant. It doesn't matter. We're all getting negatively affected. Please make sure you like the video, subscribe, join Willis in the description. With that being said, I'll catch y'all in the next one. It's Love Hilal. I love you, and I'm out.